Assalamualaikum and good morning. Today our group will be presenting our project Courseware design for teaching reading and writing skill. So before we go ahead with our Courseware design, I'll briefly introduce our group. My name is SHAZWAN bin MUSAH.
Hi, my name is AFFEL. In this project, we will be designing a courseware for student age 14 years old, in which in Malaysian education standard will be formed to students. Now, this courseware will be mainly, obviously, focusing on reading and writing skills, and all of this activity will be learner-centered or student-centered with the help of the teacher itself. Now, as for the main topic of our courseware, or maybe the theme, we'll be choosing Garfield as our main theme or topic, because well, it's a very popular animations or comic or story. Everyone know about the story. That's why we choose the Garfield.
Our lesson is also based on the KSSM standard, where we focus on student to understand a variety of text by using a range of appropriate reading strategies to construct meaning, to understand simple text on a range of familiar topics such as Garfield, and use independent familiar print and digital resource to check meaning such as dictionary. And next is to communicate intelligibly through print and digital media on familiar topics, such as organizing and sequence idea within short text on familiar topics.
The reason that we choose this topic is first and foremost would be, well, it's Garfield. Uh, we are concerned with the age appropriateness of our topic, because we are teaching form to student 14 years old. They are still quite young, so we have to make sure that we choose a topic that appropriate for their age. As we know of, inappropriate item will be quite problematic. You have to explain it later to the principal. Yeah, so we have to choose a more appropriate content. So Garfield, in essence, is content like humors, but it's not an offensive humor, and basically easy to understand because it's a light humor. Uh, and basically, Garfield is far from all of those mature content that we want to avoid. And in addition to that, Garfield is actually relatively relevant to students. As we know of, Garfield debuted on 19 June 1978, so it's been that long in the industry of entertainment. Um, Although it is considered as a classic, the theme is actually quite relatable for the majority of us, especially students. I think teenagers are the one that usually delve into emotions, into friendships, kind of things. So majority of the thing is it talks about emotions, food, school life, and friendship. So based on this idea, we feel like it's relatable for the students. It's relevant to the students, and in our opinion, it's will help in learning, because relevance or prior knowledge will help create a better foundations in learning. So basically, that's. And also, Garfield is actually quite colorful in a sense. Uh, if you look at how they design the comic strips of Garfield, you can see that it's filled with expressions. So this creates an opportunity for us to create more activity around it, adapting around it. For example, like you want to learn about adjective, we want to learn about expressions of words, if that makes sense. And also it combined with text and image, which also create a better way of learning. It's much easier to learn through examples. Also, Garfield also exists in few forms or sorts, such as books, comic strips, films, or a video, and many more. So as a strips, it can actually be quite useful for a reading activity. For example, like arranging a comic panel as can be useful because it still require reading, and through the reading you have to understand the conversation and arrange it properly. That's an example. And also, maybe a trailer of the movie can be used to like write a short synopsis and many more. And last but least is the current trend of graphics. So a few months ago, they released a new movie of Garfield. It's quite popular actually. It's been talked about for some time. So from this perspective, we understand that the student may and may not watch the trailer or maybe watch the movie itself. Um, be- because of this, we understood that the student already have a prior knowledge about Garfield. Now, through this, it's much easier to expose a new item to the student, a new knowledge to the student, by relating it to Garfield, because they already have the prior knowledge to it. And
Now we'll get into the courseware design itself, and also while I'm explaining the design, I will also explain the how-to on how teacher will utilize this design itself during class. So let's get into it. For the first thing that I'm showing you right now is the cover page, English courseware, designed for Form 2 specifically. And the topic itself from the cover, you can guess it's Garfield. So now is the content pages. This is where you can introduce the topic of the unit, and also where you can navigate which part of the lesson you can use during for the teachers itself. So if you highlight over it, the instructions say click any of these boxes. Essentially, these boxes is supposed to be interactive for the student to click, and they can teleport into the pages itself. And then, for example, if they click these home pages below, they can teleport back to the starting line to go back to the previous lesson without going through each one slide for convenience. But for now, let me skip back. So essentially, that's the gist of using the content pages. So now let's move on to the first activity. Also, every button on this is actually clickable, so they can move forward and back from this button itself as well. So for the first unit itself, this is the reading activity. Do you know Garfield itself? This is for ice-breaking activity before they get into unit 1 itself to test the basic knowledge if they know about Garfield itself. Afterwards, after you ask them general knowledge about Garfield, like do you know him? Do you know anything about him, like favorite food and stuff? Next, we will introduce all the characters inside the Garfield universe itself. This will give them the very basic knowledge to do any Garfield related activity. So here, this is just a reading activity for them. It will tell them the gist of the name, characteristic, and your fun fact of Garfield, and the rest. Next, we'll move on to the activity stage, which is interactive, and it's about essentially like true or false, but you need to pick the right image. Answer the given question with the correct image. So depending on the image, it will give you two sound. For example, John Arbuckle is the blue shirt guy. So if they click this, they will hear, which is the correct answer for the sound. But if they hear this sound, it will signify that they got the wrong answer though. So they can click around which character are wrong, so that they know if their answer is correct or not, depending on which image they decide to pick. Next is Unit 2. This is Unit 2, the poem of B. Garfield for more than a day. So essentially, teachers will need to give them time to read the poem Garfield for more than a day. And you can see that some words are highlighted. So teachers need to point out those highlighted words and instruct the student to find the meaning itself. Teachers need to give them the freedom to either use dictionary or use the internet to find the meaning of all the highlighted words such as retire, retirement, and tech, including the meaning inside. They can write it on Google Doc, paper, or maybe the team online classroom chat room. Next is create your own two lines poem, previously similar to prior, but maybe this one need to be in Google Docs or on paper to make a two-line poem from based on the Garfield itself. Garfield poem. They can make freestyle, or they can like try to mimic and try to create their own Garfield poem. Next is writing activity. So essentially, this is the pre-phase activity for writing that they will face, because the next activity will be related to comics. So now we'll get them to be used to comic panel first, how it will work. So first, teachers will show them this. This is a full panel because they have 3 panel, full panel, the joke and the punchline and the setup. So the next is the 3 slide on the side is essentially unfinished. And there is another slide. Teacher need to explain. There is another box beside it. They need to predict what will happen next. So essentially, Garfield pushed the dog inside the food, and then he start hitting his owner. So then ask the student, what will happen? Did Garfield say Monday? Did Garfield just do it for fun? Did Garfield start laughing? Then they click. And then you can see the joke is about to train them to hate Mondays as well. And this work for other panel as well, because every time you click, the next panel will pop up. That's how teacher can conduct it, or the student can conduct themselves. The next one is activity they have to do themselves. So essentially reading Garfield diary. They have to write a diary based on themselves being Garfield on a Monday. So they have to write their experience, anything that happened on a Monday, minimum 100 words, and they are given a few prompts to guess what they can write if they don't have any clue what to write. For example, what's your favorite fruit? What's your favorite food? What's your hobby? And how you treat other Garfield characters. If they need to check back what are the Garfield characters and what is actually Garfield's favorite food, they can just click home and then just go back to unit 1, and then they can check back the character itself. See, Garfield love funny, mischievous, love himself so much, love lasagna and stuff. See, and then they can go back to unit 3. They can go back, find the pages previously, and start writing it on Google Docs or on paper. The third and final activities for them in Unit 3 is write on comic panel. So this can be done both physically and online. So essentially on online, teachers can give them the picture itself, online chat room, or in their maybe personal chat, group chat, and then send them an image and ask the student to write on the image, like edit the photo inside their phone, tablet, or laptops, or they can write it physically on paper. And in physical classroom, teacher can print this picture multiple times from how many students they have, and then they can write on the picture itself. After the activity, that is essentially the end of it. And that is all for me. Now I'll pass on to AFFEL.
In conclusions, in the beginning, when we started to design the courseware, we were discussing about what is the topic. So it's required some time, but we ended up with Garfield, mainly due to its popularity and relevance to the students. Following that, we also discussed about the platform that we wanted to use, and once again, we ended up with Canva. Now, Canva actually have a lot of features, but we actually lack the knowledge to benefit from the features. So it's required some time for us to learn a few things from Canva. Let's talk about the reason that we choose to design this courseware in a way that I mentioned earlier, briefly. So basically is because we are dealing with young audience, it is very important for choosing an age-appropriate content. It is also quite popular, making it more relevant to the students compared to majority of things. There's a lot of potential with the source of Garfield. I mean the form, like for example, like books, comic strips, and the movie trailer itself. We can work around it in a lot of activity. The expressive way of writing of Garfield also make us choose this topic itself to Garfield. Obviously, there's a lot of things that we can use in Garfield. It's have so much potential. Well, obviously, adapting those potential into a courseware can be quite challenging, but yeah, overall, we do hope that this courseware will be a huge help for not just for us, but for other people also, if they have the opportunity to maybe read this courseware or look into this courseware. So that's all from us. Thank you.